Today, I get to talk to Andy Stein with Evolve about medical breakthroughs, technology, and why it's so important to follow your heart. And why it's so important to follow your heart. I used the important word.
You did the great cut on him.
Come on, man. We do this, I get to eat. Do you know that? It's like, I'm hungry. I don't know about you guys, but I am so hungry. Today, I get to talk to Andy Stein and Evolve Medical I can't believe this.
That's all right. It sounds like
this is what I would be able to. He's using this for a skit. I know he's going to be blooper. He's going to. I can tell. I can tell. My stomach's growling. I'm hungry. Okay. No more intermittent fasting. I'm with Andy Stein, his company is Evolve, and I gotta tell you, I love getting around people that have a cause, people that have a mission in life. And this was the most fascinating thing that I've heard this year. Although with all due respect, it's only January 9th. Okay. But in all, no, honestly, this is, you guys are gonna love this. You know, don't turn this off because you are gonna wanna hear this. This is Andy Stein, and we just met, and he came in on fire, literally on fire. And tell our viewers a little bit about you and your mission and your company, because it was absolutely breathtaking.
Sure. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the best way to start this, but you know, we have a company that we're building a financing platform for medical innovation. I think the best way to start is, you know, start with a question. In our lifetimes, in your lifetime, when was the last time you ever heard of a disease getting cured? Or how often do you hear about a disease getting cured? And I don't think it's because diseases are not curable. I think that there is an inhibiting factor in medical and biotech innovations reaching fruition. And in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, that's the money in the middle. Because when you reach a point where you know, you want to progress your company, you always have to sell shares in your company. You always have to sell a piece of your vision to someone else who is not sharing your vision. And the investors really, they care about one thing. They care about how much money they're making. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to build a platform, an opportunity for all the medical technologies and cures and treatments around the world to actually have a pathway to reaching the people who are waiting for it. So Evolve is our company, and basically it is a bridge between the medical innovators and the people. You know, so one example is we have a company, we have a biotech company that led us to this point called Amylex. Amylex stands for amyloid extraction. And Amylex, we have a technology, it's a nanomolecular medical device technology that removes a toxic protein from the blood called beta amyloids. Beta amyloids, do a little research on Google, for a couple decades, you know, has been blamed for, you know, causing the plaquing in the brains for Alzheimer's, or leading to that, and you know, lots of diseases are affected by beta amyloids: Alzheimer's, diabetes, muscular dystrophy, cataracts, you know. And my father, Dr. Charlie Stein, he actually invented a synthetic molecule that acts as a magnet to these beta amyloids. And we developed a product, it's a nanomolecular medical device treatment that can actually remove these beta amyloids from the blood from outside the body. So without introducing anything into the blood or into the body, so there shouldn't be any risk of side effects because we're not putting anything in there to affect it. And to focus more on the Evolve side, we received FDA approval, kind of fast forwarding from this. But my father invented this in the year 2000, and now it's 2020. So you can see how long it takes for medical innovations to reach anywhere. So, and that's kind of why we're doing this. We want to really, you know, streamline the process here. And you know, basically we realized when we got our FDA approval over in the Philippines for human commercial use for this beta amyloid reduction technology, the next question is, how do you start? What do you need to build the infrastructure? You need money. And this is where people lose their company, because you would usually go to Shark Tank, or you go to Big Pharma to find your money, and then you never get enough to move forward anyway, and a lot of it now belongs to somebody else. So we realized with this whole blockchain world, you know, that has woken up in the last few years. Forget about all the, you know, the ICOs that aren't working and all the things people are trying to do and figure it out. But if you know, this is more of a healthcare project than a blockchain project. But so it's a healthcare project with a blockchain solution.
Right.
So if we take blockchain we can actually create a reservation system for our treatments. For ourselves, is how it started, where we now have an FDA approved treatment. What do we do? How do we where do we get the money? So imagine being able to tokenize reservations for your treatments or your technologies and get the money now so you can afford the fruition without having to sell your company. And when we realized that we could do that for ourselves, one thing leads to another. We decided to open up a whole medical platform, a marketplace called Biospheres, which is going to be opening pretty soon, which is a place where anybody in the world can go to see what's the latest and greatest medical innovations, cures, and technologies from anywhere on the planet, and actually have access to it. Because these companies will be able to onboard certain qualifying companies that have a certain criteria, near commercialization, all that stuff. And they're going to be able to look into this marketplace and to log into Biospheres, see what's available on there, and they're actually going to be able to buy reservations for their upcoming treatments at the lowest prices that they'll ever be using a token. Actually, I showed you a token. I don't know if you have it.
I do have it on me. Yeah. Let's get it out. Let's get it out here. I got some. There it is, right there.
This is the physical version of our token. It's called the AVX Token, and this is the currency for future medical access. And this is going to solve a huge problem for lots of problems. Actually, it was a series of gaps that we're solving for the people that are waiting for their medical technologies, for the scientists and the doctors that are waiting for their funding. They're trying to figure out how to get that. For just across the board. People don't even realize a lot of the time that there are medical treatments, cures, and technologies around the whole planet, not just our own country. And what this does is it's going to open the world to what exists everywhere. And by using your dollars, your pesos, your yen, your whatever currency you have from in the world, you could buy this token. And this token, just like Chuck E. Cheese, now they're using the cards, right. But until then, we all grew up with their tokens, right? In Chuck E. Cheese, they all have different companies making different games, but all those companies take the same currency in that building. So this way, we can really make a hub for medical innovation
and make it more affordable for everybody.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point.
Because the cost is what prevents people from getting these types of treatments.
Our platform will incentivize medical treatments to stay low in price, because it's not the price that changes, it's the value of the token. So actually what happens is you end up needing, as the value grows, you need less tokens to get the same treatments.
So let's talk about something that really hits home. I mean, I can almost get emotional. Alzheimer's is on a rampant page. It's just growing and growing and growing. We talk about Alzheimer's, diabetes is growing very fast as well. And we talk about, a lot of people think it's the sugar in the food, but either way, so many people are affected, even over Christmas. My aunt has Alzheimer's, she's in a home, we didn't want to put her there. It's very emotional over the holidays. Talk about what this does for Alzheimer's, because I think so many people are impacted by that disease.
Yeah, Alzheimer's is the only disease where people die twice. And people are calling it a growing epidemic, because there's nothing in the world that can cure Alzheimer's, that can treat Alzheimer's. There's nothing that can slow it or stop it. Nothing exists. The drug market is $7 billion now, and I think Aricept is maybe doing the best. And these are all a couple billion a year or something, right? And these are all symptomatic drugs. So maybe they'll help with a symptom, but we're not looking to do a Band-Aid. We're looking we're researching, the pathologies and sources, to where these diseases are coming from. Alzheimer's is a good example, because it is affected by beta amyloids, like a number of other diseases are affected by beta amyloids, such as muscular dystrophy or cataracts, or there's a lot of diseases that are affected by it. And in Alzheimer's, there's a huge buildup of beta amyloids where they cluster together and they become something called an oligomer, and that's where it becomes dangerous. And a simple Google search will show you that that the beta amyloids are blamed for causing all the plaquing on the brains and this and that. So what we're doing is we're researching beta amyloid pathology and beta amyloid intervention. What happens if you remove the beta amyloids from the blood altogether? We're going to find out, very soon. But one thing we know is that our product, it's a nanomolecular technology it's a rapid beta amyloid reduction technology. So we can remove an average of 89.2% of beta amyloids in the first hour of treatment.
Wow.
So we'll find out how that affects, people, who have these diseases that are associated with beta amyloids, but it definitely couldn't hurt to remove your beta amyloids.
But the hope is by removing them, there's less chance of getting these diseases and getting these illnesses and going into diseases like Alzheimer's disease.
We think that it's going to make a big difference. We're definitely, it's not just Alzheimer's, it's really beta amyloid intervention is what we're studying, because there's so many diseases affected by it, and we'll see how the body responds.
Well, there's a lot of people listening that are just pulling for you and your company. I know I'm one of them, because this could help so many people and make healthcare so affordable and give them access with a lot of hope. There's people out there that feel like they have no hope. So this is unbelievable. Boy, you got a great cause. But you know, when you are on a mission, you talk about 2000, this all started. Now it's 2020.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in a big mission, there's a lot of resistance. So I'm sure that you've had some trials and tribulations and ups and downs. Yeah. What can you tell our listeners about going through those battle scars? Because the bigger you get, the more you're under a microscope, and the more enemies you acquire.
You know, we're in a very weird space here, because you know, honestly, pharma is meant for big multi-billion-dollar companies. It's not meant, even though, it's not companies that invent cures and treatments. It's scientists who work for the companies. And we did something really bold, and we moved forward with this anyway.
You know, the bigger you become, the more critics you get, the more resistance you get, and you have to go through ups and downs for sure. I'm sure
a lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges. One of the, thank God we were very blessed, because we were always able to keep progressing. We were always able to get the funding that we were looking for. I'm not going to say it was easy, but at the end of the day, we were always able to, to bring in, to attract the right resources, the right people, the right players. We have amazing people on our team. And I think that's, it's just, everybody, and the more people that kind of align with your mission and your perspective, and the more you really realize that we're on to something here. We have an incredible team of really special people in pharma, in business. I don't know if I should name names here or not name names here.
Well, you were also saying, I love what you said, because you said you were going through some challenges, and I don't know what you want to share, don't want to share, but you've kind of pounded through it because of the cause, and you were following your heart.
Yeah.
And when you follow your heart, you're just talking about that.
That's what keeps us going. It's kind of scary when you're up against these multi-billion-dollar companies that are, that don't really
cheer him on, people. Cheer him on.
Don't really want you doing.
What's going on.
Yeah. We're not trying to cause a problem. We're not trying to create any enemies. We're trying to solve, to fill a gap. And we're just trying to create solutions, to problems that nobody really knows the solution to, right? And I think we're just trying to come up with a solution that makes life better for people. We're not trying to upset anybody about coming out with something good.
Well, this is Andy Stein, and he's with Evolve.
Evolve,
the company Evolve. We are cheering him on for sure.
Thank you.
And what one last thing can you, maybe a piece of advice of people, maybe they're working on a project, maybe not as big as yours, maybe as big. What piece of advice can you give them that may be going through some challenges?
You know what? You need. One of the best things that I learned over the years is try to preempt what other people are thinking. You know what I mean? When you're going through a certain process. There's a lot of people hit so many dead ends and roadblocks in business, especially in blockchain. And imagine if you can think about what are other people gonna perceive? What are they gonna ask? Where could there be potential problems? People don't want to think about what you might be facing. They just go. So
I love that.
There's things with the SEC. There's things with the FDA. Maybe we can try to understand their perspective before we make a move, and then we can understand why it makes sense from their perspective, and then we can see how to work with that to make everybody happy. And I think that's why we attract people like Charlie Shrem and Michael Kimelman, who are now part of our team.
Yeah,
and
love Charlie and Michael.
We found a way to use blockchain the right way. You know what I mean? Right. It's not, the technology itself is fantastic. What people do with it is just what people try to do with it. You know what I mean? And some people, did some really interesting, amazing things, and some people gave it a bad name.
Right.
It's just, but these people.
What they don't understand, they knock. Right.
Right. And a lot of people don't want to know. They don't even want to hear the questions that they're afraid to look for. You know what I mean? And I think that the SEC has policies for a reason. You know what I mean? It's to protect us against certain types of things. So maybe understand from that perspective and what makes sense to work with them to get, to be in compliance. And a lot of people are afraid to approach the whole compliance thing, but we were very careful to, and patient, to meet with everybody, listen to everybody that had something to say. Sometimes it didn't mean anything, and sometimes it was very valuable. Listen to different perspectives, research, even on Google, what might work to your advantage, what would not be compliant and why, and follow that, so we're just trying to make everybody happy. Right. We're working around the world, not just just here. We're all over the world. AVOL is based out of Switzerland. Yeah. We have and you were doing some very special things over there, and
well, it's a world mission, because we all have diseases, we all have illnesses, and we all want to work together. So
at the end of the day, everybody wants to live longer. Nobody wants to be sick. And this is not about...
It's about quality of life.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is not about us building a business to go become, make a lot of money like a lot of other people are doing it. Right. Not that that's not a good thing, but I'm just saying we're actually on a mission. We actually have something here that can save a lot of lives. Yeah. That can, if someone has cancer and there's a cure in some other country, or even if this one, but if it's not here and it's somewhere else, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to access each other. All we're doing is building an access platform.
That's great. That's fantastic. So Andy, our last question is, how do people get more of you? Obviously, you gave some great information. Where can they find you?
Go to our website, aevolve.health, AEVOLVE, so aevolve.health, Health. And you can learn a lot more about us, and whether you just want to watch, whether you're a medical innovator, whether you're a patient, whether anybody, aevolve.health is where you want to look, and you'll see some videos, you'll see some great information, and just follow the project, and God willing, we'll make everybody have something to smile about.
Andy Stein.
Thanks.
All right, well, it's good that I did it over again, because I need to see that right. Okay, thank you. It's like, and how we can fix this ginger boy. I had to say the darn word right.
Almost everybody says it wrong.